Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto here for the Wasteland Reviewer YouTube channel, and I'm here to review Gold, which is starring Matthew McConaughey, and it came out this January, and one of the first films to be coming out this new year. It's about a man who owns a company that does drilling, who meets this, seems to be some kind of savior among gold diggers, to reach a bunch of money, become rich, and then everything falls apart. So any kind of big success and then lose success kind of story. And this film, I actually pretty enjoyed it. And the big thing was this film was getting some pretty bad reviews, and it's part of a string of movies on Rotten Tomatoes that are solidly negative in that rotten range. This is in like the 30%, which completely disagree. This film was actually a pretty good film and actually worth seeing, and I'm going to be talking about it. So it was directed by Stephen Gaghan, and the director here does a great job of telling an interesting story with some twists and turns that you might not expect towards the film, and overall does a decent job. It has a nice style to it. It really feels like this 80s environment, and they do a fantastic job with the production design, the costumes, everything, the makeup, the hair, really making you feel like you're in the 80s, which really built up this story, because this feels like that Wolf of Wall Street kind of like Wall Street big 80s kind of businessy movie. And it's that era of greed and trying to make money hand over fist, and really feels like it fits in that 80s setting, and they do a fantastic job of making that. And stylized, there's some great camera work, and it's very colorful and really fits the tone. Now, the film, in terms of storytelling and pacing, there's definitely some issues. The first third of this film is definitely slow, takes a bit of picking up, and I actually felt a little bored towards the beginning of the first third of this film. And when you're looking at the storytelling, there's some, it's not a straight shot of storytelling, and once they integrate some framing devices, you're starting to lose some sense on the direction of the film, where things are timed and stuff like that, which was a little odd, and unfortunately really brought the film down a bit in terms of the directing and the storytelling. The writing, the main character is definitely interesting, and he has some depth, and he has some struggles, things that he's trying to balance, trying to make a success for himself. He's ambitious. He's trying to get up from the point where he's working out of his girlfriend's bar and trying to make something of himself. And then his colleague, who's the one who found the gold, who's working with him, played by Edgar Ramirez, he is a stoic and stone-faced kind of guy, and their chemistry between the two of them is actually really good and interesting. McConaughey and Ramirez work very well together. The rest of the characters in this film, pretty one-dimensional, pretty flat. It's really McConaughey's film and a little bit of Ramirez. Now, Matthew McConaughey does a fantastic job, and he looks gross. Gained some weight, looks a little chubby, bald head, weird, messed up teeth, everything. He went full blown in trying to make himself look like a disgusting businessman that you wouldn't want to trust with your business. And that's one of the big themes about this, is those appearances and your background, do they really define where you are in your success, and if you can be trusted and stuff like that. It doesn't delve super deep into that, a lot of surface level, but it is interesting themes that this film looks at. And Matthew McConaughey, continuing the McConaissance, is doing a fantastic job. Unfortunately, the film as a whole isn't on the same level as what he's doing, and Edgar Ramirez does a fantastic job too. Bryce Dallas Howard is the girlfriend. She does a really good job. She doesn't have much to do, not much to balance with or work with. The character's pretty flat. And then there's people like Craig T. Nelson, who shows up for one scene, or like Corey Stoll or Toby Kebbell, that are just kind of thrown in there and completely flat and not really have any characterization or personality to them. Felt kind of wasted in this film, but it is what it is. And overall, the film is an interesting time. It's a fun time, and it's one of those films that progressively gets better. Each act is better than the last, and this actually comes with a very interesting, cool resolution at the end of the film that changes some perspective on the film that I actually really enjoyed. Towards the end, I was pretty drawn in, and for a movie that comes out in January, where you expect most of those films to fall flat on their face, this was a nice surprise. I've had a couple of nice surprises already here in January. I haven't seen any of the stinkers yet, which will potentially be getting to some of those soon. The cinematography, as I mentioned before, looks really great. The music mix of either like famous songs or the style of music that they incorporate into like that blues and stuff like that really fits the feel of this film and works very well with the rest of the film. Hey, if you're gonna want to go see a movie for pretty cheap in the theater or catch this at some point when it's released on like Netflix or something like that, I highly suggest it. Gold, I'm gonna give a solid B minus. It was above average film. You should go out and try to get a chance to see it if you want it, if you have the opportunity to.